780 Democratic delegates are up for grabs tomorrow, and the Vermont senator is looking to close the gap between him and Hillary Clinton. While Florida will most likely land in the hands of the former Secretary of State, at least that's how the polls show, Bernie is now leading in Missouri and took away nearly a quarter of Clinton's supporters in Ohio. Let us bring in former ambassador to Belgium and former member of President Obama's 2008 campaign staff, Howard Gutman, in a Fox Business exclusive. This sure is getting interesting because just when you think it's a sure thing for either one of these people, you know, Hillary can surprise, Bernie Sanders can surprise. What do you think happens tomorrow?
Well, I'm one who believes the longer Bernie Sanders stays viable, the better it is for Hillary Clinton. If Bernie Sanders hadn't existed, Hillary Clinton should have paid to invent him. Because think of the alternative, Liz. We would be watching Hillary Clinton playing solitaire and debating Emailgate, not Bernie Sanders. So for the Democrats, having a real race, even if it won't last forever, is a great thing.
So you're saying that this whips up a whole bunch of energy, and yet it looks like the Republicans have more energy on their side for the moment, although Bernie Sanders and these crowds behind him, they're incredibly passionate. There's so much more enthusiasm. Why do you feel that Hillary doesn't have as much this time around?
Well, first of all, this time around, I don't think there was great enthusiasm at any time. Many people like Hillary. Many more tolerate Hillary. I haven't met many people enthusiastic, but she's pretty lucky. Bernie Sanders has brought enthusiasm. If Donald Trump is the nominee, he will bring enthusiasm, perhaps in the wrong direction. And so I'm looking for Donald Trump to close the enthusiasm gap for Hillary Clinton the other way by bringing the young, the disaffected to the polls, not because they're excited by Hillary, but they're excited by potentially voting against Donald Trump.
A lot of polls show that in a head-to-head matchup, at least right now, Hillary would beat Donald Trump. That said, these things could change, especially considering there is that cloud, Howard, over her head regarding the email server scandal. You know, how does she get around that? What eventually happens there?
Well, I would not, if I were a Republican candidate, get too far out ahead of that issue, because if she gets exonerated, then you're dropped flat. I would stay on competency issues, because let's look at the early indications. Pagliano's early indications was that there were no attacks on Hillary's server. I was in the State Department for 4 years. I can tell you the unsecure server, the BlackBerry server, that did get attacked. So what if the answer is her emails were more secure being on her server than had they been on the State Department BlackBerry server?
Which Secretary of State did you work for, Howard? Forgive me if I don't remember.
So I was from 2009 to 2013,
okay.
2 years for Secretary Clinton, 2 years for Secretary Kerry. And if I were a Republican, I would work on the effectiveness. Take a look at the Kerry years versus the Clinton years. I
know, but the cut and paste issue really starts to bother even Democratic voters. I've talked to some of them who simply say it just doesn't feel right that there were workarounds that she guided to try and get around that. It's that old "are you held to a different standard" issue that bothers some people, even people who are very supportive of the Democrats.
It bothers me as well, because I had to live with 4 years to having a BlackBerry that you couldn't get YouTube, you couldn't search the web, and to send a secure email, you had to go to my office to a special machine with a special form. So what we really know is the State Department email system is way out of date. But ultimately, if the review by the IG shows of the last 4 secretaries of state that she didn't do anything exceptional, and in fact the emails are more secure,
sure.
I wouldn't want to be a Republican without an issue. I would go on competency.
Okay, yeah, and then they'll be fighting a battle that's already been won, at least on her side. We're watching so much of this closely. Will you come back again, Ambassador?
My pleasure, absolutely.